exclusively on AMC and AMC Plus.
You got a possible train killer out there.
A brand new season of the hit series Dark Winds.
Big cases put everyone on edge, and this one's big. She's coming.
From executive producers Robert Redford and George R.R. Martin.
If that girl talks, this whole thing unravels.
Dark Winds, Sundays, exclusively on AMC and AMC Plus.
Support for this podcast comes from Progressive, America's #1 motorcycle insurer. Did you know riders who switch and save with Progressive save nearly $180 per year? That's a whole new pair of riding gloves and more. Quote today. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $178 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between October 2022 and September 2023. Potential savings will vary.
Welcome to True Crime Garage. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, thanks for listening. I'm your host, Nick, and with me, as always, is a generous man with a question. Want some whiskey in your water? Some sugar in your tea? Here is the captain.
That's right. I'll fill up your cup. It's good to be seen and good to see you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for telling a friend.
This week, we are thrilled to be drinking Super Crisp Lager by the folks at Great Northern Brewing Company. Super Crisp was designed with an easygoing lifestyle in mind. With its mild fruity aroma, subtle bitterness, and refreshingly light finish, it's brewed specifically for the Australian climate. I'd love to have a sixer of Super Crisp after cutting the grass on a hot day. ABV? This is essentially a light beer, 3.5%, garage grade, 4 out of 5 bottle caps. Let's fill up our cups and give a cheers to some of our good garage friends. First up, a cheers to Britt in Ponoka County, Alberta, Canada.
And a big tall cans in the air goes out to Miles from Henderson, Kentucky.
Here's a cheers to Anastasia R. in Cambridge, Maryland.
And a big We Like Your Jib goes out to Matt in Hoover, Alabama.
And last but certainly not least, we have a very special Ron Swanson please and thank you that goes out to Lydia G. all the way over on the Gold Coast in Queensland, Australia. Everyone we just mentioned, they went to truecrimegarage.com and helped us out with this week's beer fund for the beer run. And for that, we thank you.
Yeah, BWRUN Beer Run. If you haven't got your tickets yet for the Brian Shaffer live panel discussion, that's in April at Brewdog in Columbus. Get those tickets at truecrimegarage.com. They're going quick, so I don't want you to miss out. And if you're not following us on YouTube, make sure you check out True Crime Garage TV on YouTube. And Colonel, that's enough of the business.
All right, everybody, gather around, grab a chair, grab a beer. Let's talk some true crime.
A reported burglary turned deadly as a Tipp City school teacher is killed in her very own home.
Her husband and her 2 children survived the ordeal. Now police are searching for a suspect. 2 News reporter Morgan Anderson is live at the scene working to learn more. Morgan, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Jack, Lauren, as you can see behind me, this is the home that's now taped off after a burglary gone wrong, which became a homicide. Tipp City Police and the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation are actively investigating the scene after 37-year-old Ashley Flynn was shot this morning in her home. It happened on Cunningham Court just after 2:30 this morning. Police were called for a reported burglary where a woman inside the home had been shot. Flynn's husband and 2 children were present when officers arrived. Flynn was announced dead at the scene. Both canines and drones were deployed to look for any suspects, but none were found in the search. 2 News spoke with the police on the scene to learn if they had any leads on a suspect or new information. However, they were unable to share any information at this time. We also spoke with residents of the neighborhood, and there was a shared general consensus. They can't believe this happened in their community of all places, nor to the Flynn family.
The neighbors here are all close. They all keep a good eye out on everybody. My sister's lived here for probably 30 years and never had a problem in the neighborhood. Yeah, so it's really kind of shocking.
That same neighbor and everyone we spoke to in the community says they're devastated.
This week, my captain friend, or I should say, this week to all my friends, we are heading out to Tipp City, Ohio. Tipp City is a city in southern Miami County, Ohio. Nice community. The population is a little over 10,000 people. Founded in 1840 as Tippecanoe City, it was renamed in 1938 because, well, they didn't want to rock the boat as another town in Ohio was named Tippecanoe. Plus, Tipp City sounds cool. The city is in the Miami Valley, just 15 miles north of Dayton. And of course, Tipp City is part of the Dayton metropolitan area. Today, we are going to be examining the Ashley Flynn murder case. Ashley Flynn was a middle school volleyball coach and a teacher with Tipp City Schools. And the school system said on its Facebook page, quote, "She was known for her beautiful smile, warmth, kindness, and the positive impact she had on so many, both in and out of the classroom and on the court," end quote. Ashley Flynn, a beloved mother, teacher, and volleyball coach, was murdered in her home. Her husband, Caleb Flynn, a one-time contestant on the ever-popular American Idol, the husband, reportedly found Ashley's body on February 16th and called 911 to report a home invasion. Ashley Flynn was a mother of 2 young kids and just 37 years old. Here is a timeline of the events as they have been unfolding before our eyes. This is all very obviously new stuff, and this story caught our eyes, and so now we bring it to you, the beautiful listeners. All right, starting this off here, it's 2:31 a.m., very early morning hours, Monday, February 16th. Let's remember that this was President's Day, so some folks didn't have work that Monday morning. Tipp City police officers were dispatched to the Flynn home in the 1900 block of Cunningham Court in Tipp City, following a frantic 911 call from the victim's husband, 39-year-old Caleb Flynn. The call to emergency services was in reference to a reported burglary, possible home invasion, with a resident inside identified by the caller as his wife, Ashley Flynn, who had been shot in the head. Let's start off, Captain, with an examination of the call to 911. Again, now let's keep in mind that this is very early morning hours of Monday, February 16th.
Oh my God.
Miami County, 911.
Oh my, somebody broke into my home. Somebody broke in my home and shot my wife.
Are they still in there?
I don't know.
Okay, what's the address?
932 Cunningham Court, Tipp City, Ohio. Please hurry. Please hurry.
Okay. What are you seeing?
My wife she's got 2 shots to her head. There's blood everywhere. Oh my God. Sir, please.
Ma'am, I need you to take a deep breath, okay? Do you still see anybody in the house?
No, the door to the garage was wide open. Please hurry, please. Oh my God. My daughters are here. My daughters are here.
Where's she at?
She's in the bed.
Are you with her?
I am in the room. I'm looking at her. Yes, please.
Okay. Do you guys have the door locked?
We have the doors to the garage locked, but into the house, yes. Please. my God, oh my God.
Where's that room out in the house? My partner's getting them dispatched, okay? But I need you to answer my questions so I can get you help as fast as I can, okay?
What question?
Where are you guys at in the house?
I'm in the bedroom with her right now.
Okay.
My daughters are in their room.
So you are not with the children?
I was with the children when it happened.
Okay, but you're not with them now?
No, they're in their room. They're not even awake. Oh my God, oh my God. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Sir, please.
They are heading that way, okay? I need you to take a deep breath for me. Are you hearing anything?
No, I've rubbed her leg and said her name. She's not answering.
Okay. Your daughter's not answering you?
I'm sorry. No. Hold on. I'm putting on her shirt. What'd you say?
Your daughter's not answering you?
No, they're across the room.
Okay.
In their room.
Okay. Are you hearing any kind of noise inside the house?
No, her face is, her face is white as a ghost. Please hurry.
Okay, whose face?
My wife's face.
Your wife's face?
The one who was shot.
She was what?
Shot, I said.
Okay, where was she shot at?
In the head. I hope there's blood everywhere.
Okay, is she breathing?
I don't think so. Ashley, baby, please. Oh my God, she's not.
Okay, she's not responding to you?
No. Oh my God.
Okay, do you see anybody in the house now?
No, it's pitch black and the doors are locked. The door leading to the garage door was wide open when I ran in there.
Okay, do you see any kind of vehicles?
No. Wait, no. The door. There's a side door in our garage door that's open by the. Oh my God.
Okay, I need you to just take a deep breath for me, okay? They're getting to you as quick as they can. Is that door still open?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
What do I do?
Is she breathing at all?
I don't think so. There's 2 shots to her head.
Okay. If you are comfortable, I want you to go and find a cloth, and I want you to put a cloth on that gunshot wound, okay?
Like a towel?
Yes, like a towel, but do not apply direct pressure to it. Just put it on that blood wound, okay?
Okay. Oh my God.
I need you to just take a deep breath for me, okay?
Okay.
Just get that cloth, and I want you to put it on that wound, but don't apply direct pressure to it, okay? They're coming to you as quick as they can, okay?
I just laid it on her head.
Okay. Where are the juveniles? Are they okay? Have you checked on them?
I haven't checked on them.
Okay. Can you go check on the juveniles for me?
The police is here.
Okay. Can you go check on the juveniles for me?
Wait, the cops just pulled over. They just left.
Okay. I need you to go check on the juveniles for me, okay?
They're still sleeping.
Okay, you still see them breathing? You don't see any wounds on them?
No. The cop just pulled away. Sir. The cop is here.
Okay, I want you to... Okay, open the door for him so he can get into her, okay?
Okay, he's coming to me. Sir, please, sir. What? I don't know. The door to the garage door was wide open. I'm her husband. No, I don't think so. Yes. Give me something for a cloth over her head.
Okay, Hey, ma'am, do you still have me on the phone here?
It's wide open.
Okay.
And I went here, and then there's a door all the way to the right. That one's open. Behind it. Oh my God. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Bring it. My daughters are in the bedroom over there. They're still asleep. Sure. Have you checked them? The 911. Yes. No, every door. Listen. Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! I'm 16 months now. Okay. I can't look at him. And he's gonna go. I don't know what much.
We have transcribed that call. We won't go through every word of it. It's a lengthy 911 call. Of course, as usual, you hear a bit of confusion between the husband reporting what he says is happening or has happened inside the home. A little confusion in that communication between him and the 911 personnel receiving the call early on. But you can hear at the end there, Captain, police very obviously on the scene where he's interacting with the officer that responds. There's a lot of I hate these, right? Because we oftentimes try to analyze these, and that's what we should do. We should pick them apart and see what we are hearing and tell you what we think we are hearing. But it's always such a difficult thing to do because all of these calls are equally as individualized as the individual making the call themselves. Is it just me, or with the recent 911 calls that we've featured on the show, that we've had to put on the show, is there might be a strategy to this, or maybe it's part of the training, but it seems to me like the 911 personnel has a hard time of understanding what's going on, the simplicity of what the report is. Thankfully, I've never had to be in those shoes and take these types of calls, but it always feels like there's a little like pushback on some of the statements, but maybe that's trying to double down and get more information and get insights from the first, what would be, right? This typically the person calling 911 is your first witness. Usually when there's a 911 call, especially of this nature, there's going to be some sort of investigation that is going to take place.
Well, yeah, and who's going to get this call? The public's going to get this call, so that's important, but also the investigators are going to get this call. And I have reason to believe that they heard this 911 call, and then they thought, man, some of this stuff is just not adding up correctly.
The call starts off with saying that someone broke into my home. The dispatcher wanting to know, is that person, the intruder, still there? The caller, which we now know is to be Caleb Flynn, the husband and father, says, I don't know. The address is given. He's telling him to calm down. I need you to take a deep breath. Is it just me, or does he say ma'am a couple of times? We've had this in previous calls too, and you can kind of hear Caleb's voice is heightened, certainly during this. There's a lot of Caleb repeating the same short, quick sentences over and over and over again. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I don't know. Just again, I hate to try to dissect it, but
no, but it's what we do naturally. I mean, when we hear these calls, just like the listeners, they hear these calls, there's things that are popping in your head. I mean, it's like you just shovel down a bunch of pop rocks and your ideas are exploding. I mean, when he says my wife's been shot twice in the head, my first thought was like, have I ever heard a 911 call where they're being that detailed? And I know it's because most of the time it's just like, I think this is what happened, or maybe this is what happened, or again, if she's shot in the head, wouldn't you just say, my wife, she's in bed. I think she's dead. She was shot in the head, right? It's like a Dr. Seuss book, right? And I wouldn't know without looking at the crime scenes, but was it very obvious that she was shot twice in the head?
I like that stood out for you because that stood out to me as well. I was like, well, that seems awfully specific. And then listening to this over and over again, I'm not going to lie, man. Sometimes I'm hearing him say that she was shot twice. And on some occasions, I feel like I'm hearing him say shot 3 times, but regardless of what number he's throwing out there, he's throwing out a specific number. Now, while I found that to be suspiciously specific,
bizarre. Yeah.
Then I got to thinking about it. I mean, he's saying that he's in the home when this happened. So he would have heard the shots. So that,
assume.
Yeah, that would make some sense to me that he may know what that number is or have a belief of what that number to be. But I agree with you. It's still a strange part of the 911 call. Probably the strangest part of the 911 call to me, though, is when he's saying that is the intruder still in my home, your home? I don't know. So that leaves the door open that the shooter could still be in your home. And he's saying at some point that he's not with his children. Like,
yeah,
I need you to be a dad here, man. Like, I understand that this is a situation that nobody should ever be faced with or be in, but I don't know. I'm just trying to put myself in his shoes. If I'm sitting there yes, I want to know what's going on with my wife, but I don't know that for a second, I had to stop myself from using a expletive there. I don't think I could leave. I'm not leaving my kids alone at all. If there's any chance that this shooter or whoever this person may be is still in my home.
So that goes to my first question that I have for you. If this is you in this situation and if this happens in the middle of the night, why are you not sleeping in the bed? Because from everything I've read, she's found in the bed.
Yeah.
So was he sleeping on the couch? And how many times have we had these cases where it's like, somebody broke into our house and killed somebody in the house, and I just happened to not be sleeping where I normally sleep?
Yeah, it's bizarre because it's like the spouse is always on the couch or in a different room, and this is 2 a.m. and I wondered the same thing. And I have portions of the police report which are very specific of some of these details, and we'll get into that. The other thing that I thought was strange too, Captain, was is she alive? I think is the 911 operators asking. And he's like, I rubbed her leg and she's not responding. Again, look, I don't know this dude. I can't, maybe this is totally normal for him. Again, nobody knows how they would react. And my guess is I would be falling at her, falling to her. I wouldn't be rubbing her leg to see if she responds. I know that especially with head trauma, back injuries, neck injuries, you got to be concerned about keeping the person still. That's always something you need to keep in mind. But I don't think that I'm rubbing her leg. And
yeah, but a lot of people say, again, to reference a case, JonBenet Ramsey, she's on the floor and the dad falls on top of her and picks her up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that's very common. I came home and my wife was on the floor in the kitchen, and I got on top of her and I grabbed her and I hugged her.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like a natural instinct to try to be protective. But my question to you, and I'll just give you what I think I would do, is if I'm in the house and then whether I hear the gunshots or not, at some point you see your dead wife in the bed. And if there's multiple gunshots to the head, there's going to be blood. And because she's laying in a certain direction and all the items, she's not on a concrete floor. So all those,
Right.
the pillow and the sheets, everything's going to be collecting blood. If I'm in that moment and my kids are in the house, my first thought is not to call 911. I need to get to my freaking kids. So then you get to your kids, and then
the way he explains it, he's with the kids when this happened, and then he leaves them to check on the wife, and then he's still gone from the kids while he's on the 911 call. That's
again, that doesn't make any sense to me, because let's just say hypothetically, I'm sleeping in the room with my kids and I hear some gunshots. My first thought is I need to protect these kids. I need to make sure whatever is happening out there doesn't get into this room. And maybe at that point, I'm calling 911 to say somebody's shooting in my house. I'm in the room with my kids. I need police officers here now, right? Because if you hear gunshots and you don't have a gun on you, you're just going to walk out. I could see the other thing too of there's danger and I will run towards that danger. But my first thoughts would be anger and protectiveness towards whoever I'm around in that household. So I think then when he sees, again, I don't know if you can buy much of his story or not, but it's like once you see her laying there and you don't know if this person is in the house, he doesn't seem that concerned. I mean, I've heard stories of guys that have like actual fighting training, martial arts, or maybe they're boxers or whatever. And there's somebody breaking into their house and they run towards the danger because the thought would be, if I can sneak up on this person, or if I can show such aggressive nature towards this individual, no matter if they have a gun or a knife, maybe I can overpower them or whatever. So I don't think a lot of his story is adding up.
Yeah, and he seems to be moving through the house without a lot of great concern if the intruder's still in there, which multiple times he says he doesn't know if the intruder's still in there. And again, away from the kids. Now, here's where, look, my apologies to the 911 personnel there. This is where the emergency service is taking the calls smarter than yours truly, because we have the husband, Caleb, says, "Oh, sir, her face is white as a ghost. Please help me." Okay. And the operator saying, whose face? And he clarifies, my wife's face. See, that's where the 911 operator's smarter than me, because I already made the assumption, hearing that call at that portion of the call, that he would be referring to his wife's face. So, right. But what's smart about that is we don't know whose face, if the intruder still is in the home, it's not inconceivable that the intruder would be a woman. So to hear her face is as white as a ghost, that's smart to request him to clarify whose face are you talking about.
Well, it's also not crazy to think that there might be another victim.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I think some of it is a tactic to keep them talking, because maybe they'll slip up and say something that later on we can use against them.
I will say too, when Caleb is moving throughout the home, and some of this is at the request of the 911 personnel, who says, if you could get a cloth, some type of cloth to put on the gunshot wound, possibly attempt to slow the bleeding there. So some of that movement is based off of what he's been instructed or asked to do. At one point, he does say that there's a side door in my garage that's open. And I think he says in the corner. I couldn't make out exactly what word he's saying there, but he does say that there's a side door in my garage that's open. And I will say, to my ear, as he's describing that, he sounds surprised to me, like he's describing something that he's seeing or recognizing for the first time.
Yeah, and I think there's some speculation on, was there items that were in front of that door that would have had to be moved for it to be opened? So
yeah, and you see that in the police report, which is intriguing here. So
yeah, but to be clear to the listeners, there's Caleb in the house. We have Ashley, his wife, in the house. She's found in the bed, but I don't think there's any sign of life. And then he has 2 children in the house, and we don't have any other individuals in that family in the Flynn house.
there are 2 dogs inside the home as well.
Right. But okay,
I'm guessing.
But what kind of dogs are there? Or we got German Shepherds? Do we got pit bulls, or do we have Yorkies? Because I think that matters. Like when I had a Yorkie, that Yorkie was not going to stop anybody. Wasn't going to scare anybody either.
No, and typically any variety of dog is terrified by extremely loud noises, which I would assume that, unless this perpetrator had a silencer or some kind of suppressor, these would be loud gunshots. These, from my understanding, they are golden doodles, are the 2 family dogs. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. I can think of so many great women and ladies who have had a deep and wonderful impact on my life. Women deserve to be celebrated, but we should also recognize that many women carry emotional weight at work, in relationships, in families, and the roles that they play for others. Whatever you're navigating, career expectations, parenting, caregiving, or more, therapy with BetterHelp can help you check in with yourself, unpack what's feeling heavy, and build healthier pathways forward. BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform and handles the initial therapist matching work for you. Just take a short questionnaire to share your needs and preferences. And thanks to BetterHelp's industry-leading match fulfillment rate, they usually get your match right the first time. You can also feel confident knowing BetterHelp therapists work according to a strict code of conduct and are fully licensed in the U.S. Your emotional well-being matters. Find support and feel lighter in therapy. Sign up and get 10% off at betterhelp.com/garage. That's betterhelp.com/garage. So many people are focused on where their money is today. Acorns is the financial wellness app that cares about where your money is going tomorrow. And with the Acorns Potential Screen, you can find out what your money is capable of. Acorns is easy. You can sign up in minutes and start automatically investing your spare money, even if all you've got is spare change. Sign up now, and Acorns will boost your new account with a $5 bonus investment. Join the over 14 million all-time customers who have already saved and invested over $27 billion with Acorns. Head to acorns.com/garage or download the Acorns app to get started. Paid non-client endorsement. Compensation provides incentive to positively promote Acorns. Tier 2 compensation provided. Potential subject to various factors such as customers' accounts, age, and investment settings. Does not include Acorns fees. Results do not predict or represent the performance of any Acorns portfolio. Investment results will vary. Investing involves risk. Acorns Advisors LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. View important disclosures at acorns.com/garage. Are you tired of spending hundreds on crazy high wireless bills, bogus fees, and free perks that cost you more in the long run? Then a premium wireless plan from Mint Mobile for $15 a month might be right for you. Bring your own phone and number, activate with eSIM in minutes, and start saving immediately. No long-term contracts, no hassle. Mint Mobile is the best way for you to save money on your wireless plan. You're going to save money monthly, easy on the pocketbook, and you're going to receive the same great service, if not better than you've had in the past. That is absolutely what I have experienced. I've saved money with Mint Mobile, and the service is just as good. And in fact, in my area where I live, there are spots where this service, Mint Mobile, is better than carriers that I have had in the past. So when hunting for your next wireless carrier, please consider Mint Mobile. If you like your money, Mint Mobile is for you. Shop plans at mintmobile.com/TCG. That's mintmobile.com/TCG. Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month 5GB plan required, equivalent to $15 per month. New customer offer for first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details.
This message is sponsored by Greenlight. In every true crime case, money lurks in the background, whether it's the motive, the breaking point, or the cover-up. That's why giving kids the tools to understand money isn't just smart, it's protection. With Greenlight, you can keep your family's financial future from turning into another cautionary tale. Greenlight is a debit card and money app for families. Greenlight helps kids learn how to save, invest, and build confidence with money. These are the skills that keep them from becoming victims of scams, fraud, or financial missteps down the line. And this is why my family loves Greenlight. My nieces and nephews come over, they do some chores, they shovel the driveway, they rake some leaves. Guess what? I can pay them directly. And this is teaching them how to save. It's teaching them if they do a good job, then there's a reward. And my nieces and nephews love to tell me how much money they're saving. Saving money and investing money, or just dealing with money, is something that's not taught in schools, so it's something that we need to teach them. I love Greenlight. I think you're going to love it too. Start your risk-free Greenlight trial today at greenlight.com/garage. That's greenlight.com/garage to get started. Greenlight.com/garage. Help teach your kids how to save, invest, and build confidence with money. Check out greenlight.com/garage today.
From the police report here, forgive me here, Captain, but some portions of this would just be easier for me to read it in first person because it's written in first person. Yeah. I didn't respond to the scene, so let's be clear. Just to be clear.
Yeah.
On Monday, February 16th at approximately 0240 hours, Captain Smith contacted me regarding a homicide scene where Sergeant Rissmiller was present. So this report is coming from the responding detective. Okay, so police have already been on the scene, and the detective is writing his report from the time he receives the call to arrive on the scene and then what he witnessed once there. So he says, I immediately reached out to Sergeant Rissmiller, who was working the night shift. He informed me that officers had been dispatched to 932 Cunningham Court in the city of Tipp City for a burglary in progress. The reporting party, identified Caleb Flynn, had told dispatch that someone had broken into his home. He also reported that he did not know if the suspect was still inside the residence. Additionally, Caleb reported that the garage door was open and his wife had been shot in the head and was not responding. Sergeant Rissmiller advised that upon his arrival at the scene, he cleared the residence and located a female, later identified as Ashley, lying in bed with a gunshot wound to the head. To protect the integrity of the crime scene, he instructed that only a single medic enter the home to aid the victim while minimizing contamination.
That's smart.
As he entered the residence, he observed that the side door to the garage remained open. So this would be what Caleb had mentioned in the 911 call. Proceeding to the master bedroom on the northeast side of the home, he again observed the female, Ashley, in her bed, appearing to have been shot in the head. Based on his observations, he believed the case was a homicide, noting 2 gun shell casings on the bedroom floor near the foot of the bed. So we have 2 gun shell casings, per this report, that were found on the bedroom floor near the foot of the bed. I don't know her positioning in the bed, and this report doesn't give that, but at that hour, it wouldn't be crazy to assume that she was sleeping,
right,
and that her head would be at the head of the bed and her feet at the foot of the bed. This, based off of where these gun shell casings fell, we can surmise that the shooter likely stood at the foot of the bed, aimed toward the victim, and fired the gun. It goes on to state, after responding to the scene, I, the detective, spoke with the reporting party, Caleb Flynn, to obtain permission to enter the home and observe the crime scene. Caleb signed a consent form authorizing me and other Tipp City Police Department personnel to enter. Detective Klein and I then entered the residence and conducted a walkthrough of the master bedroom, where I observed 2 gun shell casings near the foot of the bed. We also observed Ashley lying in the bed with what appeared to be a gunshot wound to the head. So they're doubling down on some of the information, but it's clarifying that more than one person is witnessing these details at the crime scene.
No, and I think it's also smart, but also we have some evidence. So we have these shell casings. So we're going to learn a little bit about what type of gun, and also, was there any evidence, DNA, fingerprints on the shell casings? And if not, do we have any cleaning agents on the shell casing?
Upon exiting the master bedroom, we moved to the garage and observed a side door on the north side of the home that was open. While examining the door, we noticed a large refrigerator, this goes to what you were talking about here, Captain, positioned directly in front of it being the door. The placement indicated that the refrigerator would have had to have been pushed in order to open the door. So given that description, it sounds like this refrigerator would partially block the opening to this door, or completely block one from opening the door.
Yeah, and so I want to know what's in the refrigerator. How heavy is this? How easy is it to be moved? Everybody's garages are different, but is it a concrete floor? Is there some rug, or is it on some rubber mat? How easy is it to push this away? Because to play devil's advocate, this could be something that Caleb is staging, but this also could be some kind of evidence of an actual intruder.
And I would like a better description of this refrigerator. It's not necessary per this report, but keep in mind, doors to your home open inward, not out. So if an intruder entered the home via this door, they wouldn't have the ability to be on the inside of this door to move the refrigerator. They would have to open the door either enough to then move the refrigerator, or open the door and move the door pushing the refrigerator at the same time,
right,
if even possible.
Yeah. And I'd want to know that. I would want to do just some preliminary testing myself before. And again, maybe it's something that you don't have to make your mind up on completely to have charges against somebody.
While in the garage, we observed 2 vehicles, a 2024 Ford truck with an Ohio license plate and a 2016 Chrysler with an Ohio license plate. After walking the area, another officer informed me that while clearing the house, he had observed the center console of the Ford truck to be open. He relayed that Caleb had told him that his handgun was typically kept in that console.
This I have a problem with, because I don't know why you'd keep your gun in your car. But again, I don't know why he owns a gun. People buy guns for many reasons, but one of them is protection. And so did he have a job, or was there something in his lifestyle where he felt safer by carrying the gun in the vehicle? Or maybe it was a compromise with his wife. I want a gun for protection, but she's like, I don't want a gun in the house. So did he keep the gun in the car because that was their compromise?
Yeah. Did she know that he had a gun? Would be another thing that would be interesting to know.
And when did he buy this gun?
I think it's a smart question. I think that it's something that many folks would question, and I'm glad that it's questioned here. However, I do think that storing a gun in a vehicle, or at least from time to time might be a little more common than most folks may believe to be. I mean, I know if I go on a road trip, I have a gun in my car. When I drive to the Waffle House, I'm not packing. I know people that carry a gun with them every time they're in a vehicle. I'm not of that group.
I typically only pack when I'm going to Waffle House.
But if I'm going on a road trip, I have a gun in my vehicle with me. Now, in his defense, and you were smart with some of that. Like maybe it was a compromise that he wanted a gun, she didn't want it in the house, and so they will live with it in the garage. I want and I expect gun owners to be as incredibly thoroughly responsible as possible, as humanly possible. What does that mean? I don't care, especially if there are kids in the home, which we know we have young kids, 2 of them inside this home living there, especially if you have kids. But even if you don't, I think that a responsible gun owner keeps their firearms or firearm locked up. And some consoles do lock. And in one creative way, if you don't have a gun safe, might be to keep your gun in the vehicle, in the console, whether it locks or not, with the vehicle locked and alarm set and keys in a position where the kids cannot get to them.
Yeah, my argument against that, though, would be out of all the things that you have access to your parents, you might not feel comfortable going into their closet or going underneath their bed or certain parts of their room. To me, when you have a family, even with small children, the car becomes more of a commonplace. And that's what I don't like about that. But there are, again, responsible gun owners that not only have it locked in their console, but there might be however they're storing the gun might be a locked box in itself. My big question, though, is, do we find the gun in that console? No.
Well, they don't outright say so, but it sounds to be that they didn't find the handgun, which, remember, in the police report, they describe it as a handgun. Again, the truck would offer something that a common lockbox wouldn't, where there's an actual alarm that would be triggered and go off if somebody tried to access that vehicle for any reason, especially if they were attempting to get that gun out of there. The gun, we'll circle back to the gun.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though, is so right now, if I'm an investigator, I have to believe that somebody broke into this guy's house, knew where he stored the gun, if the gun is not present anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That gun, now we have some shell casings, so I'm sure the gun is registered on some level, so then you get to know what kind of gun that was, and that's something he can't fib on afterwards. To piece together this puzzle, I'm going, somebody breaks into your house and they have to go through the side door on the garage and move the refrigerator and then get into your car, which you didn't have locked, which is fine. You didn't have it locked, but you have a gun in it. So not fine that it's not locked. And then this person took your gun, again, if it's not present, and used it to kill your wife. And
presumably.
You seem right. And you seem not so worried that there's an intruder in your house.
Yes. That's what we're led to believe anyway, based off of what limited information we have here. Like one thing that will come out eventually that we don't have in our Batman utility belt to tell this story is, what were the movements of the persons in that home prior to the 911 call? What were they doing earlier that day, on that Sunday night? These are all things that jump in my mind of details that I would like to know. A brief description of the home. It's a ranch style home, 3-car garage. It looks to be positioned at the end of a cul-de-sac. Nice home, nice neighborhood, nice street. And this is Tipp City, very low crime in Tipp City. So continuing on with our timeline here at 2:40 a.m., we're still President's Day, Monday, February 16th. The overnight Tipp City sergeant alerted detectives. We talked about the detective responding on the scene here. The Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation was contacted and sent to the scene to collect evidence. They have the evidence processing team that arrived on the scene, and they made arrangements. Law enforcement made arrangements for Ashley Flynn's family to come to the house to get the couple's 2 elementary age daughters who had been sleeping inside, to take them and move them to another location. From the police report, after 2 detectives completed their walkthrough of the scene, they contacted BCI to request an evidence processing team and met with Caleb, the husband, and coordinated with Miami County victim witness to arrange the removal of the juvenile children from the home. Miami County victim witness was present during the removal. At 4:28 a.m., Caleb Flynn agreed to speak voluntarily with police and was taken to the Tipp City Police Department. Again, per the affidavit, the police report, once the children had been removed, the detective, spoke with Caleb Flynn to ask him if he would be willing to come voluntarily to the police department to speak with us. He agreed. At approximately 04:28 hours on February 16th, Caleb was transported to the Tipp City Police Department for an interview. It was at 5:54 a.m. that same day that Tipp City Police Chief Greg Atkins issued the first press release regarding the homicide investigation and identified the victim as Ashley Flynn. We spoke briefly at the top of the show about who Ashley was, but who was Ashley Flynn? This from the Dayton Daily News. Ashley coached 7th grade girls volleyball at Tippecanoe Middle School and worked as a substitute teacher for Tipp City Schools, where she also was a former full-time teacher. For the past year, she had served as a teacher for LifeWise Academy in Tipp City, a nonprofit that provides Bible-based education to public school students away from campus during school hours.
Yeah, so I think like a lot of typical families in America, you have young kids. She is a full-time teacher. She has a lot going on. I know that she also works for her church, and she's a coach as well. And so she's touching a lot of people in that community's lives and affecting a lot of their lives. And then, so I think at some point, it seems like she goes to part-time, continuing to do all of her, let's say, side projects. But this is kind of common because child care costs are so expensive. And so by having one parent working, let's say, part-time, they can run around they can run the kids to different sporting events and activities and help with the homework and all that stuff.
As for Ashley's family, while still working as a music pastor, Ashley's husband, Caleb Flynn, in 2013 appeared as a contestant on the 12th season of American Idol. During an interview for the show, he shared, quote, "I love my wife more than anything. She is very, very pretty. I love her," end quote. Neighbors said the Flynns and their 2 elementary age daughters are often seen outside with the family's 2 golden doodles. They have a volleyball net set up in the backyard, a basketball hoop along the driveway, and they would often toss a softball outside.
Yeah, it was a beautiful neighborhood and a pretty large neighborhood, but it seemed like there was some space between the houses. They lived in a ranch. I believe there was a 3-car garage. But what's interesting about where they were situated was they're in a court. So that's going to do some good things for us as far as during the investigation, because if we have any cameras on the other houses, we might be able to get some kind of surveillance. But also what's interesting about their house is their house partly backs up to another court, but it also backs up to a field. So there's not a row of houses directly behind their house.
Shortly before noon on that Monday, the Reverend, his name is Jordan Hansen, the lead pastor of the Christian Life Center, the Flynn family's church, informed members of the church that, quote, "A beloved member of our church, devoted servant of Jesus and wife, mother, daughter, and so many other roles she filled with grace, devotion, and unconditional love, was murdered in her home. Ashley Flynn is with Jesus. Please pray for her husband and 2 daughters and extended family left behind. Please pray for the ongoing investigation. Please pray for God's very presence to bring comfort to an unfathomable situation. Just before noon that day, Captain, we have Chief Greg Atkins, the police chief for Tipp City, issued a second press release stating this investigation will take time as investigators continue to collect, process, and analyze all evidence at the scene. The release also asked, this is something you were getting to, asked for anyone in the community with information, specifically video footage. So much talk about Nest cameras, Ring doorbell cameras, Simply Safe cameras, ADT. We are very lucky to be living in a day and age where you can equip your home with these security measures. And like we've said on this show before, at least in my case, Captain, I like to get even. Even if I can't prevent you from harming me, I at least want your ass to get caught. So
if
put them on
kill
camera.
Me,
you're going to be. It's going to be videotaped, sir.
I mean, there's been many things that we have said on the shows, and also guests that have said, "Hey, if a crime is happening, then do X, Y, or Z, and it gives you a chance." Well, if you don't know if you're going to live and you fight like hell, you might not even just be fighting for your life. It might be fight for your life, but also fight for justice, because you're going to collect so much DNA evidence. And one of the things that's interesting in this case is I saw on one of the crime shows where they actually took the whole neighborhood and they did a 3D rendering. And where I think this becomes important, like I said, with the Flynns living in a court, we're going to have some more opportunities to have different angles of their house and the surrounding. Now, you might not get so much of that from the back because they backed up to a field, but they're deep inside the development, meaning we should have evidence of there's not a million streets that lead to their court.
And you're right. Given them being well into that cul-de-sac near the end of it, you have homes that are positioned differently than they would be on a typical street. So you have the opportunity here, if folks have those cameras set up, to have multiple angles. And like you said, and just like the Tipp City Police Department was asking, they were requesting any video footage that anybody may have. And this is the thing. Do not review it and go, well, I don't need to see it. Send it in. I didn't see anything. Call the police department and just give it to them. Let them review it. That's their job. That's what our taxpayer dollars go to their department for them to analyze it and for them to decide if anything is of importance.
Well, and one of the nice things about I live in a development that's kind of out in the country. So at 2-something in the morning on a actually it'd be Monday morning, but Sunday going into Monday, if you're driving back in my neighborhood and you're not parking the car to get in your house because you live there, you probably shouldn't be in my neighborhood. And I'm guessing that this neighborhood was similar. And like you said, with some people not working the next day, you're going to have less movement. Yeah. And so what we're not clear on, unless you know this information, we just have a call. We don't have him stating that he heard the gunshots, right?
Right. He doesn't say that in the call.
Right. So now the cops might have some collection of evidence or collection of information that he gave them that might not be truthful information, but that is going to focus our timeline down more. But if he's making this call, again, early morning hours on Monday, again, even at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night, these types of neighborhoods, they calm down. There's less movement. So we should have a really good idea of, do we have cars coming in? And because there's so many houses, you might get the car on multiple cameras, which then would give you multiple angles and possibly an identifier like a bumper sticker or a license plate.
Yeah. And I would think, 10,000 people live in this city. That's not a heavily populated area. So I would wager, Franklin, that on most Sunday nights after 6, 7 p.m., that unless there's something major going on in Tipp City, which oftentimes there wouldn't be, I bet you Tipp City is pretty much a ghost town come 6, 7 o'clock on a Sunday night. And keep in mind, this is February. It gets dark. It's still getting dark pretty early. This is Sunday night going into Monday, and Monday very early in the morning when the 911 call comes in. On that same day, the Tipp City's city manager, his name is Eric Mack, he released a statement that said in part, the city manager and members of city council are deeply saddened by the tragic events that took place. Our thoughts and prayers are with the family and loved ones of the victim during this difficult time. The safety of our residents remains our highest priority. Tipp City has always been a close-knit community, and moments like this impact us all. Now, typically, we wouldn't hear from the city manager in cases that we cover. I think it points out to the safety and the lack, thankfully, of violent crime that takes place in Tipp City. So Tipp City violent crime rates, basically the city experiences 2 violent crimes a year. So it's roughly like 1 violent crime per 5,000 people that live there. You have roughly 10,000 people that live there. That breaks down to roughly only 2 violent crimes committed in Tipp City each year. And to be clear, most years that's not a homicide. In fact, this city, many, many years without a homicide or even a non-negligent manslaughter. So a very safe area as far as violent crime rates go.
Well, and what's also interesting about this case is not just that the husband is heavily involved in the church, being a pastor himself and a worship leader and performing music at the church, but his wife's involved in the church, so their whole family's involved in the church. So anybody that goes to a church knows that if there's something going wrong with a member and that they can take up a collection to help them at the end of the service, you'll often see that. And so I'm assuming that's going on in the church, but also they're setting up a GoFundMe. I don't know if that was through the church or if that was just through a friend, but everybody in that town and I think this is important. If they have a collection going and somebody sets up a GoFundMe and everybody is saying, hey, look, Caleb is this great guy. He's involved in the church. All the neighbors are saying great things about him. There wasn't a lot of speculation that Caleb was involved in this crime until the cops make an arrest.
Yeah. So let's go down that road for just a second and add a little color to that, because we have Tuesday morning, the Cunningham court where the Flynn family lived, their neighbors are being interviewed by the local media there. And these neighbors are expressing shock, of course, sadness, but also fear over the death of Ashley Flynn and the reported home invasion, with one neighbor saying specifically that she is getting ready to install a security system that day or later that week. Remember, we recommend Simply Safe. Neighbors, and then to expand on the family here, those same neighbors said that at Christmas time, and this is the stuff that almost makes you choke up when you hear about these horrible tragedies. They said at Christmas time, the Flynn family would bake cookies and have the 2 little girls deliver the goodies door to door to the people on the street.
It's sad too, because like that's one of the best ways you can teach your kids is by setting the example. You can sit there and tell them all you want to care about others and be kind to others. And this is a neighborhood. It's a nice neighborhood. So it's not that the neighbors needed cookies made for them, but it's a kind thing to do. And then obviously, I think one of the perks, if you have a church community in your life, one of those perks is that the children see people in the community, in the church community, trying to help others in the community. So much more to get to in this Tipp City case. Thanks for joining us here in the garage. Stick around for part 2. And until then, be good, be kind, and don't litter.
I like things my way, my coffee, my schedule, and my treatment. So I talked to my doctor about self-injecting with the Vyvgart Hytrulo pre-filled syringe, which contains efgartigimod alpha and hyaluronidase QVFC. It's injected under your skin, subcutaneously. It means I can inject in my space, on my time. It's my treatment, my way. Visit VyvgartMyWay.com. That's VYVGART MyWay.com. And talk to your doctor about Vyvgart Hytrulo, brought to you by Argenx.